Okay, so welcome along everybody. Today I would like to explain to you and take you through the various power plants that I used in my latest run here of Satisfactory and Update 3. Now most of you of course will be wanting to get out of those biomass burners as soon as you can and get into coal, and then some of the more advanced power station systems after that. So I'm just going to show you here what I did. So this was my first power station running here. It consists of 18 coal power plants. Set up into groups of 6. Now each 6 receives water from one of these 3 water extractors here, each of them overclocked with 3 power shafts. And what I do here is I take one coal generator out of every 6 and I put that on a separate circuit. That separate circuit is used to power these 3 water extractors here, and the coal miner that is used to power all of these coal plants. And that means the other 15 you can use for your own, for powering your factory. If we go down here, we'll see that this power plant here, and another one down there, and the other one on the other corner there, are all on this circuit here. Now this this power plant is not used anymore, but you can see here that this can produce 225 megawatt hours, and that is enough to power the 3 water extractors and the coal miner. So this system will never trip out. The other system, you use the other 15 coal power plants here to power your factory. And if they trip out, it doesn't really matter, because then you can fix up whatever your extra drain was, and then you can trigger them, turn them back on again. And these will always have water, and they will always have coal because of that, have a separate circuit. The only thing you might have to do at the start is to prime your 3 coal generators you're using in order to get the system running in the first place. But once that's done, then it's self-sufficient. So this is where I started off, and I used this power plant to basically power my way all the way through tier 7, up to tier 7, and after that I changed my power setup and I started to do it like this. So the power systems I have now are 3 independent circuits. I have one circuit with the geothermal power generators on it, and because there are 18 geothermal plants you can make around the world, this gives you a total of 3,600 megawatts. You can see this on my belt here. Sorry, on my belt, on my power line. And we have 3,000 megawatt hours, and we're using this to power the secondary power station, which I'll show you in just a moment. The beauty of the geothermal plants is that they don't require any inputs, so they will never trip out as long as you don't exceed the 3,600 megawatt hours. And now I'll show you what I used this 3,000 megawatt hours to power. So this is my secondary power station, if you like. What we have here is 144 coal generators, and they make combined 10,800 megawatts. And the infrastructure used to bring all the coal and the water and all of that is powered by the geothermal network. So it's been tested that the coal power plant here can run at 100%, and the geothermal network can supply enough power to keep all the water extractors running. What we have here is 144 generators. They're all fed underground from the coal network. Go down here, have a quick look. You can see all the belts running underneath there. And the piping uses a overflow injector type system, where each pipe coming in is overclocked at 300 to 250%, sorry. And we have one pipe comes in here which splits into these 3 on each side here, and then we have another pipe which comes in here, splits these way. And basically the way the system works is that if you have any overflow, the pipes just balance out, and one of these pipes runs around the whole system here. This whole bank comes all the way back over here. The coal we get from over here, which is just 4 nodes, 2 pure nodes over there, 2 normal nodes here, the normal nodes with the Mark III miners, and the pure nodes with Mark II miners, and that gives us enough coal we split up here nicely and we just run around in everything. It's a very simple setup. And the water comes from over here. So each of these water generators is overpowered, is power sharded, and we have a 2-to-1 ratio here. So each one is just overclocked by 125%, which means we get 150 out of them, and we have a pump here just to make sure that it gets up to the hill part over this other side there. And like I say, this is all powered off the geothermal network. You can see I've powered the colour of the poles here green. This is all coming from the geothermal. So that keeps all of these pumps running. These pumps can run at 100%. And the 4 miners that we saw earlier, they can also run at 100%. And we're still well within the green power limits. And what I've started to do is to use the geothermal network also to power the hypertubes, so that they will also never run out. Now, the purpose of the coal plant here is to power the infrastructure for the nuclear power plant. And the nuclear power plant gets all its resources here from the desert areas, so that's why we have these belts running out here, and they're picking up the various things we need to power the nuclear power plant. Now, the nuclear power plant is up the top of the hill here. Now, all our resources, they come through here and they go up the tower, and it's all made at the top of the hill. So let's go have a quick look at that. So here we are, the nuclear power plant area. And what we have here is we have the entire infrastructure set up here for everything. So we only have raw materials coming up. We have the uranium coming in here on the bridge. Some deuterium going on here to make some quick wire. Sulfuric acid is made over here. The encased rods are made over here. And it all feeds down over this way. AI limiters, stators, for the electronic control rods. And we have a water infrastructure project here to supply all the water for each of the nuclear power plants. And it all basically feeds into these 10 manufacturers here. Each of these manufacturers is overclocked at 150%, which means that we can make, if my maths is correct, we can make 10 nuclear rods here a minute. And this is set up in such a way that all the infrastructure that's back up here can power all of these manufacturers at 250%. At 150% each, we can power 30 nuclear reactors running at 100%. And if we decide to run the manufacturers here at 250%, we can add another 20 nuclear reactors on, although we have to put them somewhere else because we don't have any water. And this gives us a total capacity here of 75,000 megawatts. Now we can get an idea of this by coming around this side. And we can see all 3 networks next to each other. So here we have the nuclear power plant network, 75,000 megawatt hours. And as I said, all the infrastructure powered by the red network, the coal power plant, is this one, producing 10,800 megawatt hours. And then all the infrastructure for that is powered by this network, which has 3,600 megawatt hours. So that basically means that as long as this doesn't trip, the coal will never trip. The coal will never trip. The nuclear will never trip. And you can just use your 75,000 megawatt hours to do whatever you like. So that's it. That's a little tour of my power systems that I came up with for this playthrough. A lot of people I know, they spend a lot of time investing into turbo fuel and stuff like that, but I have not done any fuel, no turbo fuel generators in this run, except for 5, which I built as a test, but didn't use for very long. So yeah, that's it. There are plenty of other options though. You can generate much more power than this just from turbo fuel recipes. Yeah, so that's my run through there. Thanks for coming along.